A plan to build townhomes on a vacant restaurant lot in Hyannis moves forward. Boat storage on town property discussed by the Waterways Committee and the fiscal 2015 operating budget is now online. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Wednesday, May 28th, 2014. I'm Sarah Mantle. The Conservation Commission approves a plan to build 2 townhouses on Old Colony Road in Hyannis. The plan would tear down the former restaurant up the creek and replace it with 2 3-bedroom townhomes. Professional engineer Steve Wilson talked about the plan before the vote.
What we have here is a redevelopment project. Everything on site goes, the little house, the whole restaurant facility, in-ground grease traps, stuff like that may be floating around. And we've got bordering vegetated wetland, the 50 and the 100. And what we are proposing is 2 units of like townhouse, 2-story townhouse type structures. The center here is parking with stormwater management in compliance with the DEP requirements, which currently there's no stormwater management whatsoever. It's just a parking lot. And all work outside the 50-foot. This part of the gravel driveway that's within the 50-foot, that's about 1,400 square feet. That we'll replant in consultation with the staff and organize it that way. There'll be other landscaping going on around it, but as I said, we've got we're getting rid of a lot of hardscape, both in the 0 to 50 and the 50 to 100. I mean, the total decrease in hardscape is about 2,600 square feet. And then we've got all the parking contained. We have stormwater management. It goes out this way into this basin and then goes back in, and there's underground leaching here.
The commission unanimously approved the plan with an added condition that the entire 50-foot buffer will be marked with a single rail fence. The project will next go before the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Barnstable Historical Commission. The Waterways Committee is working to address in-season boat storage on town property. The committee put together a timeline and hope to have something in place for next season. Chair Jack Mead asked the committee to consider whether or not current regulations are being enforced.
My thing was, when I was speaking with the town, the president of the town council on this, was that I hope that we would have a thorough review of what current regulations are available. I mean, I'm loath to write regulations because just to satisfy or deal with the fact that the regulations that currently exist aren't being either enforced or unable to be enforced and unenforceable. And if they are unenforceable, then let's figure out why, and then come up with a regulation that's enforceable, that makes sense. But I hate writing a new law just because the old law isn't being enforced for whatever, without knowing why or what the reason is. And so I assume that's going to be part of your charge relative to that, or included in part of the charge relative to that you're going to be bringing to us as we go forward.
Okay. The committee will continue to discuss the issue at its next meeting, June 24th. The town of Barnstable is selected as the recipient of several state grants. Barnstable This Morning host Sarah Colvin talked about what's in store for the town of Barnstable with Director of Growth Management, Joanne Miller-Buntich. We share a portion of that interview with you now.
A couple of things to talk about today. A couple of grants coming up for acceptance. Tell me a little bit about what these grants are all about.
We have the one grant I actually mentioned at the council meeting last week when they were busy adopting the new flood maps, and it's called the Community Rating System. So we got a grant from the Coastal Zone Management to hire someone to fill out this application for the FEMA Community Rating System. And so It's designed to help communities be better floodplain managers. And so you engage in these activities, fill out the application, and you can do a few other things. And then the folks who participate in the National Flood Insurance Program in the flood zones get a reduction on their rates. So just by filling out the application and sending it in and having it accepted or approved, or I'm not exactly sure what the term is, folks will get a 5% reduction. So why didn't we do it ourselves? It's just an application, because it's about this thick. It's simple. There's nothing difficult. It's a lot of data collection. We've just never been able to fit it into the work program, although it's always been present for us, and we have wanted to get it done. So this grant opportunity was perfect. And we're actually partnering, going to partner with the county. What we're seeing more and more is that when towns get grants to do processes, they want to see, the grantors, want to see that it's transferable. So there was a requirement or a bonus if you had transferability. And so what we're doing is we're putting in the scope of work that our consultant will create templates for these data formats that can be used by other towns on the Cape, and that along with the county will sponsor a workshop just to go over the process of the community rating system. Some towns on Cape Cod have done it already. Harwich, Chatham, Provincetown, and one other one that I can't recall right now. So we'll be joining them. So that's that one.
Great.
It's a small grant, $56,000 I think total, but we'll, a lot of in-kind, we'll get the work done.
Exactly.
The next one was actually, there was an event in southeastern Mass last week. The governor announced our Common Backyards grant, and we had a lot of fun with that grant because you could either do it for a playground or a spray park. So of course we really wanted the spray park.
How much fun would that be? Now I'm guessing that a spray park is one of those things kind of like they have in downtown Boston where like the jets come up and the kids can run in it. And they've got one in Savannah, Georgia that's really fun to watch, and they light it up at night.
Yes. But being the practical people that we are, we don't have a piece of land set up for a spray park. Probably wouldn't get as much use as a playground, which you can use almost all year. So instead we focused our grant application on replacing the playground equipment at Veterans Park in Hyannis, and we were granted that money. It's a $200,000 grant, which is good news. It has to be done right away. The money has to be spent by next December, so it'll be a short process. So
great.
That's very exciting.
And that'll
we're
fit
excited
in
about those.
with all the other improvements that are planned for Veterans Park.
Yeah, and it might be, you get these opportunities, you can't turn them down. It might be a little cart before the horse, but it's important, I think, to access these monies as they become available, because I don't see this program being replicated, and I don't think there's any intention to replicate it, actually.
Residents can now view the proposed operating budget for fiscal 15 on the town's website. Finance Director Mark Milne says the budget book was completely revamped to improve readability.
Noticed it's the design of the budget document has been overhauled, and we used a brand new template to prepare all of the department summaries and reformatted the flow of information, hoping to improve its appeal and readability and anyone's ability to locate information easier by the way we structured it. So there's been several modifications made to it. We've also broken out the enterprise funds separately from the general fund activities. Before, the enterprise funds were buried. Well, they weren't buried, but they were included with the general fund activities under each department, under their respective departments. But that kind of made it more difficult for people to locate the enterprise funds. And so we dedicated a whole chapter just to enterprise funds this time and broke them out, separated them from their general fund partners where they were included before. So it's a major overhaul to the budget document itself.
Town Council will soon begin discussion on the proposed fiscal 2015 operating budget. Items were read in at last week's meeting. On June 5th, town departments will begin making presentations to the council. We'll be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program Barnstable this morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we'll get a look at recently completed renovations at the Centerville Library. We will also hear from resident Phil Scudder in our Barnstable Voices segment, and we have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mantle.